My name is Martin Whittock, and for many years I have studied and written about Vikings. In that time I have co-authored a number of books. The Viking Blitzkrieg, AD 789 to 1098, which looks at the Viking Wars in England. Norse Myths and Legends, published in the USA as Tales of Valhalla. The Vikings from Odin to Christ. 1016 and 1066, why the Vikings caused the Norman conquest. But my forthcoming book, American Vikings, takes this exploration into a new direction. For this book, published in November, is entitled American Vikings: How the Norse Sailed into the Lands and the Imaginations of America. It explores the evidence for Norse settlement of North America. We examine the archaeological evidence. We examine the saga evidence. We look at the topographical evidence and how far into the North American continent these explorers may have ventured. But the book goes further. We examine how the idea of these settlers has entered into the consciousness of North America, particularly in the USA. We examine how in the 19th century, settlers in the Midwest claimed land on the basis of previous Norse exploration of the area. We look at the runestones of the Midwest and elsewhere and examine, do these really tell us about Vikings, or more about the later use of the Viking idea? We look at how Vikings were made to wrestle with the Mayflower Pilgrims and Christopher Columbus in the 19th century as citizens of the USA grappled with various origin myths of European settlement in North America. After the Second World War, Vikings explode into comic book culture, into Hollywood, into TV and online series. Hollywood and streaming services may seem a long way from Launceston Meadows at Newfoundland in 1021, where we can now date the first settlement, but there is a connection. We look at how Viking merch, Viking branding, operates today in the USA and why it is so popular. We examine the ways in which the alt-right have picked up the idea of the Vinland settlers and made them serve a new purpose, explaining why there were Viking symbols at Charlottesville in 2017 and at the Capitol on January the 6th. The journey that we examine in this book takes us from the turbulent high seas of the North Atlantic of the 11th century to the equally turbulent seas of the modern online world and right-wing politics, alongside Viking merchandising in other areas of life. So, if you're interested in the idea of American Vikings, their impact on the complex world that we live in today, as well as their impact on the world of 1,000 years ago, check out American Vikings: How the Norse Sailed into the Lands and the Imaginations of America. Published on November the 7th by Pegasus Books, New York, and distributed by Simon and Schuster. The past is still with us. It impacts today. American Vikings takes us on an extraordinary historical and cultural journey, gripping, fast-moving. A journey that continues. American Vikings.